episode of Lifestyle After Five. I am your host, Ali Mohammad, along with Lord Shu. And of course, we got Rich Normus with us. And today, we welcome another episode of Exploring Futurism, Unveiling Tomorrow World. And we're going to be discussing today Industry 4.0 and its current state and the future implications it has on business and society. I'm really excited about this, and this is a real important episode, especially for those that's in the job world and trying to see what the future tomorrow is going to be. I know if you're watching the news, there's a lot of talk, a lot of speculation about AI and where we're going in the future. Is it going to take jobs? Is it going to create jobs? And what you going to do in the middle of all of this going in? So we got the expert of futurism with us, Rich.
What's going on, fam?
Hey. Good to see you guys again.
Always. So Industry 4.0 represents the next phase of industrialization, combining technology and innovation in unprecedented ways. So I say it real educational, but I'm sure that you could break this down for people way better and give them a better understanding. So
Sure. I guess a couple of ways. Thank you. Yeah. So I would say Industry 4 represents it's obviously the fourth major revolution, in industrialization, and it's characterized by the fusion of physical, digital, and biological technologies. It's involving the use of smart, connected systems like artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, cloud computing, advanced robotics, to create a more efficient, responsive, and personalized experience in the manufacturing, service, and in daily life. How was that?
I like it.
Feels clear. I understood.
Now, can you contrast that compared to the industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and just kind of give a brief, that way the listeners understand how we got to 4.0?
Right. Okay, yeah, I'll kind of be there's kind of quick things, right? So let's just kind of leave an example of in transportation, right? Transportation and obviously manufacturing, right? So before Industry 1, we were using horses, right? Put a whole bunch of heavy shit on a horse and tell it to go from point A to point B, right? When Industry 1.0 came in, it started to implement the aspects of steam and steam engines, right? So now we had trains that were kind of basically running on water, right? So now if it took whatever it was, how many horses, it now is 8-10 times the amount of product that you can kind of move in an easy and more kind of efficient manner. So look, so if you want to think about kind of steam engines and and all the different kind of building opportunities that they were going on with there. Industry 2 is when we started to implement electricity into these systems.
Okay.
And that's where you started kind of getting things like the product of what the hell is that called? The line of where now people are putting things together. I forgot what you call that.
Assembly line?
Assembly line. Thank you very much. So the assembly line started to come into business because now you were able to kind of with electricity move, boxes, this kind of whatever, get it to a human to kind of do what they need to do to kind of put it down, and then they'll get it down the line, assembly line kind of stuff, right? But with the use of electricity, it changed, again, the efficiencies, the cost. It was a lot cheaper to use electric than it would be to a kind of old kind of steam, engine. And they brought a lot of opportunities from places with electricity that again didn't have before. If you even think about the light bulb was actually really good, kind of an example of that. When you started adding electricity, right? So let's just say you had a factory that used to have to wait, sunrise, sunset, right? That's all the light that they had. But now when you have the electric light bulb, you can run 24 hours, right? And so that added so much more to the development and the ability to get again additional product, more product, and stuff like that. Now, again, it's not just about like kind of serving the man on that. The light bulb changed so much when it even came to education. You had no night school before, right? It was you had no candlelight shit going on, stuff like that. But now you had like a full end up, where you can kind of go to work in the day and go to night and go to school at night. So there's like, so when you think about how electricity kind of added all those, kind of aspects to a much broader, larger opportunity. Industry 3 is like kind of when they started adding computers to that stuff, right? So it didn't, it started, kind of just making it easy. Again, computers knew how many to bring, what to, kind of what to do, and again, added a lot of, I can't, there's thousands of examples in how computers changed, and this is like 1970s, we're like in that world now, where, it's kind of helped again with the efficiencies, and kind of learnings. Like we started using the aspects of data in Industry 3, right? So now computers can start counting all that stuff and knowing where it was all going. Well, not knowing where it was going, but knew, like, again, how many, where, this and that, and where it was kind of at least supposed to be going. So Industry 4 is, again, the kind of accumulation of that, no more of that. But now it incorporates, kind of in a revolutionary way, the fusion, again, of the physical aspects of it, all the digital kind of capabilities of it, and then now the virtual worlds part of it, right? So, so now we're got just a whole bunch of smart smart products, a lot of smart procedures, right? Smart factories, and and all that, all kind of now working together, teaching each other, helping each other, all that, to again to make where we, again, the directions and where we're going. What it's making easier, and again, this is something I don't think was ever really not taken in the other 3 industries, is on how it affects you, the person. There's a personage to the industry now, and again, how I work. Me, technology, me, that, to my human, right? We're working together. It's like a partnership kind of thing. And it's important that the human has that, that feedback, because there's unknownness to where all this information, like all the open data sources, all that. And then again, it needs us, and we need it.
I guess that make a lot of sense with the industry 4.0, and like you said, I didn't think about it like that, and I think a lot of people don't think about how we work today. It's you are correct with smart factories, using the Internet of Things, AI, robotics, data analytics, which is all a part of today's workforce.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
No, I'm always surprised on really how much the component of data science connects into Industry 4. I mean, I knew, there's obviously all of that kind of going on, but as I hear people using it, as I watching industries kind of affect it, like it is the data component that's really kind of making it very sexy, and very, again, obviously very smart, and think, and the good leaping point for all the other places. I mean, again, there's a certain amount of no shit part to that, but I don't think a lot of people really realize on kind of how much the data is being kind of included, and real-time data, right? So in Industry 3, you got a disk, of information. You kind of put it into your computer, and then you did it. Now it's waiting for real-time information that's coming in from thousands of different sectors to affect each box, each delivery, each person, in that way. And also, again, having a way to work with the human.
Rich, I don't think, when I was growing up, they used to hire statisticians, and statistics used to be a thing. I'm not even sure statistics is a thing now. I think data science is taking over a lot, because a lot of statisticians, I would say, are data scientists now.
Right. So I'm saying they're really, they really are the same thing. So I wouldn't say statistics, and statistics sciences have gone away. They just kind of turned into an art, or into a science, right? Before, and we were trying to figure out, the actual human body temperature, which, by the way, is not 98.6. if you take it, that's what we all used to do, right? But when we took like
Hmm.
billions and billions of different like of temperatures, over the years, we have kind of realized it's actually 98.4. It's like a little kind, we got down that that little more, right? So I know it's a small example, of it, but it's still a statistical way of but just now it's doing it with vast amounts of information, right? And a human with a calculator or all that kind of shit couldn't do it before, right? They said I can only take this much amount of information and process it. With Industry 4 and the technologies supporting Industry 4, it could do vast amounts of information in 3 seconds, where it took you, weeks or months or, kind of processing time, all that. And those seconds are now counting. It counts, right? Because now if I have 3 seconds above everybody else, I can kind of do this, I can kind of do that. So yes, it's statistics, but definitely into a science, a deeper science.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy to think about. Actually, with Industry 4.0, I'm feeling like now like you said before, is a way to collaborate with the human. So it's no longer just, oh, I get up, I go to work, pay a bill, that's life. Now we're looking at a era basically where a human can tap into potential, well, what I would consider like wasted potential, and a person that could do something like this, like, because I always used to say, like, people in different time periods in our history were doing solving algorithms with like an abacus or something, and now like
Right.
every human can have that potential
Hmm.
through working alongside Industry 4.0. Is that something that you kind of see like happening?
Oh no, it's mind blowing. It's all of this
Oh
information
yeah.
not only is at your fingertips, right, but accessible to different like processing sources, that which is basically like the cloud. If you guys know cloud and and edge
Yes.
technology is, right? So you can have all this information, and you no longer need a mainframe to process all this stuff. All you got to do is upload it to the cloud. It's going to go do it and give it back to you. It's like, so just think about that, kind of change, and of those areas. But also, like, again, the human component, because the human is, let's just say, voting, like, kind of in
Right.
with their way, with with their system. And I I think a really great example on how this probably touches every one of your listeners, and or in versions of it, is the Atlanta Martyr system, right? Something that everybody takes, every day, I guess,
Yeah.
whoever is going, whoever is using it, not working from home and
Right.
stuff. And that's a whole nother conversation, right?
Yeah.
But a Martyr's been implementing, Industry 4.0 for some time, and what it does is just to improve, public transportation, right? So now they implemented a mobile app that provides real-time scheduling of buses and trains, digital ticketing, that you can go kind of right there. So there's those 5 or 6 kind of different components, plus a personalized trip planner, right? And then so Marta uses IoT to monitor all their vehicles. They now know where all the trains and the buses are, and it has used AI to process over, like, again, months, years, and stuff like that, the actual flow of traffic that goes from one part of the city to the other. And so you can kind of direct all this stuff, so there's like a saving of time, a saving of money, right? It takes, again, it starts to now predict what's going to be happening, right, based on the again, these billions of trips that you and I are taking. Again, it's feeding us, we're feeding it information for it to work better for us, right? So it's not like, again, it's a good partnership. And then it's also used to inform users. Like, no one knew, like, there were days that no one knew anything. It was kind of like, my bus coming, my train coming at all, is it going to be doing this? Now I know it's not coming. I can kind of do other things. I'm not going to be wasting around and making my commute how bad just the fact that I'm commuting alone. But at least it's more in a kind of an efficient and a much more user friendly manner for Atlantean residents.
That's a very key thing, because even in the trucking industry now, they are using the AI technology and everything to monitor the truck, make sure that they're taking their breaks And I thought it was amazing, even when down to like Uber and DoorDash, how you can turn on an app, and it's amazing to me that the app can predict if you come to a hard break.
Yeah.
Or not. It's like, oh, you're breaking too hard. Now, I've seen I've heard of the downside of the industry 4.0 when it comes to car insurance, because a lot of with these apps now, things that the insurance companies did not know, like when you're driving fast and swerving in and out on tail through technology. But what do you got to say? I guess it could be a good thing if you one of those people that go directly to the speed limit and you stop. Then I guess you could get a lower rate. But if you one of these people, like I said, although you may have never got caught with a speeding ticket or had a wreck, they can see your driving patterns and they want to charge you over it. I'm kind of curious as that's the reason why my insurance went up.
Well, right. There are, challenges, of course, and kind of considerations to keep in mind, with all of these, 4.0 and any of the kind of technologies or things that we're going to work. The first, real deep consideration is the displacement of jobs due to automation, right? That applied in industry 1, 2, and 3 as well, right? Mm-hmm. This guy lost his job because this machine counts, pieces of wood faster than I could ever do, and now I'm gone, right? And so, there is a lot of hurt, to that part of it, and it's only going to get deeper with these kind of efficiencies, right? I'm going to put that there, but then what I see as a futurist, and again, a multidisciplinarian futurist, is that, all right, so it's going to help the man, know where I am, what I'm doing, where I'm kind of taking my breaks or, whatever like that. And, but, they save money by, kind of being within some kind of, standard system, right? It's a job, right? It's not your uncle, like you're kind of working for someone, right? But the other, kind of the other part of that is, and you're seeing it not only, again, truck drivers, but if you want to think about it, like I think the major white collar person, is that everybody had these dick jobs that kind of were inherited from some kind of legacy system, that this company need to have at least 20 people in this group, and because that's how they did it before, and this and that. And you sat around on the computer all day and you kind of ordered shit and you did your 5 minutes of work that that they're paying you 8 hours for. Right. So those are the things that, again, those are the jobs that we're losing. We're kind of, and so, were we always, I loved sitting around, taking a 3-hour break, and then coming back and still getting my job done. And, so it's that kind of thing, like, and it's kind of hard to find, like, again, in some ways that you're useless. Right? Like, again, you're not bringing any value to your company. Like you're, again, this is not, your dad doesn't own this. Someone else does, who's paying you money, who's guaranteeing you money if you kind of do stuff, right? So exactly. There is that kind of, again, double-edged sword. So you are going to lose, you may lose your job again to do this kind of, animation. But what was it? Like in industry 3, it used to be like, or, in some forms, like the computer, or these immigrants are coming in and taking my job and doing all this kind of stuff. And the answer was, what kind of job do you have that someone who just kind of snuck through the border and took it away from you, don't even speak English,
wow, he can kind of You just hit a good point.
I was just going to say that.
I never really thought about it, and that really needs to be said to Americans. Really, I'm going to use that. If an immigrant can come in and take your job, you don't have a very skillful job.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell are you doing? Yeah,
what are you doing? Exactly.
Right. And again, there's a lot of these legacy jobs, in a lot of different forms. And that's only one of them. None of them is like, hey, my manager, the manager assistant, management says I need to have 5 people to do my job. Because I get this, I get that, when I have 5 people, whatever. But if it really only takes a half of a person, and now, technologies and efficiencies are kind of going to be showing that, And that's the other part, that kind of goes in here. It's like, the stress, I would say, on middle managers. I was a middle manager at one point, and again, I was a whole bunch of middle managers that I don't like. But what exactly do you do, middle manager, other than babysit 5 people who we don't need anymore?
Exactly.
Don't be crying to me now, right? It's all that kind of
Right.
stuff. So there's like, so again, I'm all for jerking around and all that kind of stuff, but it's not your mother and father's company. This is kind of somebody else. And again, I always respect the fact that you signed a contract saying you're going to do a job, and I'm at the end of the day, your pay is going to be waiting for you. Not maybe 3 days or kind of all that kind of stuff, right? That's my commitment. You commit to do this, and I'm going to commit that you got a check waiting for you, or a direct deposit that's going right into your bank, right? So there is an aspect of study of work, when it comes to to these things, and they're going to continue to change. Leading into that is the whole privacy concern, about, again, now I know, the truck driver knows, that the company knows where he is. You can't be pulling in the back of Walmart and taking a nap, and all that kind. Or now I know, like, the system knows what I buy, how much I buy it, right? Easy Pass. Easy Pass knows where I'm going. It knows when I leave, when I come home. It knows where, I personally think there's, hey, if I'm not doing anything wrong, you can kind of track me all you want, right? That just kind of helps the kind of bigger thing. But just, there is an aspect, again, of privacy that we're all going to have to, reevaluate, or on that, when it comes to what I know, what's kind of going on. But there's also, like, the increase of data sharing, right? So, and then storage. Where do I put all this? Is it being tapped into other things? Like so there's those parts. Yeah, data storage. And that's why you have, like, clean boxes is kind of what they call it. It's like, everything that I'm doing, maybe there's some guys doing, who's again, in advertising, right?
Hey, I remember when a gigabyte was like a lot of storage, whereas like back in the early 2000s, that was almost unlimited storage if you have a gigabyte. Now, shoot,
Right.
a terabyte ain't even enough no more.
So storage. So I have, like, just say there's like a centralized storage area, and again, an example for me would be advertising, because I have an advertising background. So I'm an advertiser, an advertising agency, and I have 10, 20 clients, and I'm storing all of their information in one place. And then I can kind of tap into that to make decisions across the board. Now, IBM doesn't want its information shared with Dell, even if it's in for kind of optimization processes. So storage is going to become, like, again, it's another going to be issue. Where's my shit? Where's it going? Who else is that, accessing it? And where before no one cared, no one knew to care, all kind of things like that. The other challenge, is that, and again, across the board, is the need to educate people and train people efficiently in these new technologies. You can't, just people can't be walking up and saying, hey, by the way, today this is your job. Goodbye. What do you mean? I don't know how to use this. I don't know, like, where it's supposed to go. Again, I might want to add my own component to it, and no idea. So, and everyone gets stuck. Everyone's frozen. Everyone, it takes a long time. Everyone's wasting all this money, kind of putting on all these new systems, and everyone's sitting around, with their dick in their hand. Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that?
I was saying earlier, you hit on a point when you talked about everybody look at the negative of Industry 4.0 AI and technology, but there's the positive, because although that truck driver, they know what he's doing, he can't be pulling over at Walmart. He's got loads sometimes, and just like everybody is that on Amazon, you sit on your Amazon app, and want to know where your package is. They won't know when this package is coming to your house if they don't know what a truck driver is with it. So
Right.
it not only helps the man, it helps you out when you order something.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, in Industry 4, there is an actual personage component to this. Not only am I giving you information by you following my Easy Pass, or another public information on automobiles, because automobile, both manufacturing and technology is very big on Industry 4.0. It's an Industry 4.0. It's very kind of like the main user of it right now, next to just general manufacturing. Right? Hey, but I'm doing my job, right? I'm the
Mm-hmm.
driver and I'm doing everything. I'm meeting my numbers. I'm getting to where I need. I'm going home, and I'm getting the same money as the guy who's sitting around sleeping behind me, in the truck behind me, right? And so the company recognizes that. Recognize that. They can say, hey, here's someone who is worthy of of a raise. Here's someone worthy of a promotion, right? So there's that other part. It kind of like might clean out some of like the dead wood, but it sucks if you're the dead wood.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
That's the only dark side of it.
and again, those are the challenges across the board. They're not old. I mean, they're not new by any far stretch of the imagination. We all, again, the other industries all kind of did this before, but it got us to
Right.
like kind of like the greatness of kind of where we are now, I think. Healthcare is another place that's kind of using this when it comes to wearables. I'm a big wearable forecaster. Again, no kidding.
Nice.
We'll all be kind of, we're kind of doing this now. Like your Fitbit and your Apple Watches, that's your
Exactly.
IoT connecting to an AOL, not
Yep.
AOL. Oh my God. All right. An AI system.
Yo, chill.
Wow.
He took it back with that
That's,
one.
Industry 1.0 there. AOL.
yeah, there you go. Waiting for my floppy disk in the mail so I can join. So
Yeah,
kind
go
of putting all
crazy.
these health metrics together, right? And then be able to make health recommendations, right? And even an alert if there's something wrong with you, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
again, there's a lot of, the double-edged sword. But again, if you're, noble in your direction, in kind of
Yes.
in your personalities, I mean, this is gonna work for you, But if it's
Yeah.
the old system, sorry, mate, ain't happening.
Well, I'm just saying, but in knowing this information, it speaks to what you can do to better prepare for the future. Because everybody look at the jobs that was lost, but you don't look at everything that was created and how life has become cheaper. We always talk about oil production, but we use less oil in this country. And I want to say, although there's a lot of accidents, there are less deadly accidents than there were previous years past, because now we collect data on what speed limit should and should not be, and the use of safety belts and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
Right.
with and then a lot of cars now are autonomous that helps the driver drive. So it's a lot of warnings and stuff that prevent a lot of would-be accidents. I know I was
Yeah.
pulling out one day out of my driveway. I didn't see this car that was zooming behind me, and the car beeps, and like, where is it? And I look, oh dang, it's a car there. So there's a lot of jobs and money being created as these industries change.
And
Yep.
you
Cleaning
just
up
got,
process.
yeah, and it just saved your ass. Again, there's that
Yeah, that
personal
too.
part, right? You're not going to the hospital now, right? You're not. You are now an efficient member, again, of your
And
family. You
save
can
money.
keep on working, you can keep on being there, and all that kind of stuff. Like, is the emergency room a little pissed off that they don't have too many people? They'll be okay. They got their own
Yeah,
stuff,
I'm sure.
But
Oh, they
but
can't
you
handle
brought up
the
an
people that they
awesome,
got right now.
Facts, though.
right. And again, if you're a doctor, and you got nothing to do, you better go start researching some more doctor stuff. So, we're all better, right? So we're not be wasting our time on, broken legs and all the other kind of stuff. But I love the use of automobiles in this, and I think we may have mentioned it in the past when it comes to, like, again, a multidisciplinary action of it. But you're familiar with the app Waze, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's a school of thought that runs into Industry 4, not only with the automatic driving cars and stuff like that, but just in the efficiencies of that. If we left Waze to make the decision and even drive if necessary, we would no longer have a carbon problem on our planet. Like you're saying, you want to solve
Really?
carbon problem? You can, just have your car, connect to all these systems. You're not going to be waiting in traffic. You'll get to your destination faster, safer, kind of everything else. And then, less, you're going to get less fuel, less time, predictive aspects of, where different things, kind of might be happening. So you want to solve carbon, make your car drive you everywhere you want, and then it'll be the easiest, fastest way. You don't have to be reinventing different things and stopping up. Kind of solve in general. One technology, boom. But then, again, now we're going back to that that privacy thing. Here, maybe I want to drive. Maybe I want to go the long way, or maybe I don't know. Again, I don't. Again, I'm working and somebody's watching me, and all those. There's again a bunch, but one system alone. And so I've been actually a big component of it. Now let me, there's a little bit of an update since everything. By the way, I'm saying right now is obsolete by the time we're recording. So that's how fast technology and everything moves.
Yeah.
So I have recently come across a study that said, in talking about this, that it's generally known that if we did allow, a alternative transportation guidance system to solve all our problems, but we're just not going to do it because we're just human and there's other things that might be kind of getting in the way. They had run an AI system where they would put out dummy cars, these automatic, guided vehicles that would purposely slow down certain areas and certain traffic. So in reality, you don't actually have to have everybody connected to the same system, but you can do it with a really small amount of cars who will either drive at speed levels or kind of do different things like slow people down. You kind of hate that, but they, efficiently, you could solve a lot more of the things that we were just talking about with a small amount of cars doing a small amount of things. So it has changed the point of view about those traffic flows and kind of different things that way.
Dang, that's cool. I like how you always bring everything together. But for the people watching though, if you've been taking notes, I hope y'all realize this man that gave y'all 30 different ideas for y'all to go start a business in Industry 4.0. So I hope you've been taking notes.
Yeah, not only starting businesses, but also directions that, again, if you're going to lose a job, right, to the system, have the system work for you. At least again, as a futurist, be first, right? You don't have to know everything, but just kind of get in there first, right? Yep. So if there's a sector or something like that is hot, and I'm always talking about them, and I know we're always kind of talking about them and where they're going to go. And if you're sitting around, you're not sure which direction to go, here they are. If you have to do some retraining or any number of things that kind of going on, and I could list right now the key technologies that are important to Industry 4. That could be also a kind of a big hint to, or an unfair advantage to your listeners and viewers. Again, some of it might be
unfair advantages.
But if you're okay with this, I can kind of rattle a few of them off.
Yeah, go ahead. We love unfair advantages.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So obviously you have again, your Internet of Things systems, right? And again, there's just a vast amount of them, but the fact that they exist, they will continue, and I'm a very big fan of sensors, right? So there's an actual kind of scientific name of it, but let's just call it a bajillion amount of sensors that are going to be, implemented all over the place. From, where you bought your bread, to the piece of bread, to the kind of packaging of the bread, to all of the sensors that are on all of the buoys out in the ocean, kind of sitting there talking to satellites, telling you kind of what's going on. And, so that's kind of part of an Internet of Everything, but an Internet of Things. So there is, go look it up if you need to know, what internet, but just, using Internet of Things. Then there's cloud computing, again, artificial intelligence, these are all, again, kind of common, there are ways to kind of get in, but, what I think is untapped and will definitely be kind of coming more is 3D printing. I think 3D printing is such an untapped opportunity, for everyone. And again, this is something that you could buy a machine, sit home and make small car parts, and get it easier to, other kind of distribution points. Or if you're a mechanic and you need, maybe 20% of the stuff that you can use to fix your car, the cars that are coming in, you could print your own on yourself without having to wait for the chain stores or running to, those kind of things. Like, again, that's this very, very kind of basic, small thing. But, there's an actual name for it in Industry 4, which is additive manufacturing. So that's kind of what it's called. So you're kind of, adding
okay.
things, right? So there's some really cool additive manufacturing things, and again, a lot of it comes from like nature, right? So there's a drone that will build from the ceiling down something, like again, whatever you kind of need, like kind of, but a top-down thing versus a just kind of sitting there spinning kind of thing. It's kind of like they learned it from the bees when they put their, how they make their nests and stuff like that up in corners of buildings and things like that. Again, tons of opportunities, kind of things like that. Just standard 5G technologies. Again, they are not going away. 6G, kind of around the corner, but 5G technologies are, like, again, the speed that allows us to kind of connect all these systems together and all that. And again, and it's still in its infancy. If everyone thinks everything is 5G, it is not. There is still a lot of work that kind of has to be done, kind of on that. And so, the augmented reality, I like to kind of count that in there too. Although I like to use the term immersive medias, there's going to be a lot of immersive things that we'll be kind of using, wearing, again, and working. Really good example of Industry 4.0 with augmented reality are like these kind of headgear glasses that people can kind of, that are working. You take it to work. Something is either broken because the system told you that it's broken or whatever, and you can kind of now just kind of go there and watch basically a YouTube video on how to fix this while you're there. Like, again, this would be a little bit more personalized to the companies and kind of things like that. But again, it will be Industry 4 that's going to recommend that you kind of get there a few days earlier, because based on what it knows, this piece is about to break. It breaks every 5 days, or it needs to be changed or lubed or whatever. There's like kind of, and that kind of, like, again, that's a kind of deeper kind of connection to it. And the fact that, you're the component to it, you're going to be the fixer. The self-driving cars, that's, again, the automated guided vehicles is what, the recent term. Trucking, I personally think trucking can be completely changed with that. And also, if you start electrifying them or using some of the other, parts of it, if chain store management stuff that, to be honest, nobody wants to be a trucker these days. The big, not a lot of people want to do a lot of things these days, but trucking is one of them. And, it's long, it's boring, you kind of get from one place to the other, but if you have it in an automatic system, it's going to kind of do it. The blockchain gets involved in here, right? So, when you start, especially when you start talking about, funds, electronic transfers of, hey, Alexa, buy that sweater and, make sure I get it by Thursday. Look at all the things that it has to do, whatever, but it's going to do it, and it's going to get it there cheaper, right? But you're not, you're going to pay for it automatically out of your system, like out of whatever credit card or whatever, you kind of have in there, so that will expand out, that'll be, hey, automatic system, get this thing from Lord and, give Ali $30, right? Just the fact that I could do that with my voice, right? And then, Lord's going to go and, move his t-shirt and kind of send it to you and, and all that. And so, again, it's in there. A lot of it's kind of almost kind of seems, obvious. What usually kind of catches my eye, I'll spend a little bit more time on, but is this thing called Cobalt. I know we kind of chatted about it a little bit before, and again, I'm really kind of hot on it, because there's that kind of human aspect of it. Not because we thought about it, because it demands it. They didn't want to do that or whatever like that, but it's just the best way for us to work together. And Cobalt stands for collaborative robots. Right, it's kind of like these, like, again, usually done in manufacturing. Like it has no like scale issue. You can kind of, again, work all day, kind of robots are kind of known for like flexibility and kind of ease of program. It's not that difficult to use these robots, you probably almost kind of do it from your phone, and they can work both for small businesses and large businesses, right? And so like a good example of that is like the various applications, obviously when it comes to manufacturing and stuff like that, but like food processing, right? So there's this thing that has to be, has 7,000 different components, and the robot's going to come go and do that, or it's going to wrap it, or it's going to put, the chicken and this and that in there, but it's going to hand it off to a human to kind of take it to the next step, right? So, again, these collaborative robot technologies, I think, are, again, untapped and kind of ready for, more people to kind of to jump in. Cybersecurity, we all hear it, because of the different directions that I pay attention to, there is a desperate need for cybersecurity people. Not a difficult, I won't say not a difficult class, but you could learn it. You apply your energies to where you need to apply your energies, and you could quickly become a cybersecurity expert. And the other thing about cybersecurity is that it doesn't stop. It's not a dead language. It's going to keep going. It just, there's a lot of bad players and a lot of good players, and they're all going to be, using, industry and AI and all different things to kind of go on it. So it's good to kind of, again, get in now, right, on that part. Digital twins is another big part. You may be kind of hearing that. And I'm not going to go too much for sake of time, but, a digital twin of both of a human and of a building, right? So, or a system. And so you can kind of, it is being fed all this information about how it's working and stuff like that. So you can kind of go and say, okay, I want to see what the digital Lord Shu is doing. Oh shit, he's not, he's sweating, he's having a heart attack, whatever like that. Or, here's this conveyor belt that I can kind of see right here. There's a little beeping on my screen. That means I have to take action on it. That part, that assembly, that building never goes down, or in a minimum, and continues to work. It continues to function. They kind of, there's that additional, and if you do that right, prices and things like that should start kind of coming down. But again, we are talking. I'm also a very big fan of drones, and drones are a very big part of Industry 4.0. Drone is an unbelievable, untapped, dying, desperate for people to in a half a dozen different sectors, including the army and and police and things like that. Underwater drones are very popular now. Anyone who can play a first player, video game. If you've been trained, you might be training. You may have been in training all this time, because it's basically the same components. It's the same handheld stuff, like whatever like that. So if you can fly, or fight or do something in a video game, you are already a half a step ahead, of the person who, has no idea. Also, your flying cars will fall into those same directions too. That's still a couple of months out, whatever. And machine vision is another thing. It is, and again, I'm not going to get into it because it's going to take too long, but the next component to the evolution of all of it is the machine having to be the ability to see. And that goes into your automatic cars. That goes into, again, a lot of the manufacturings and kind of things like that. It could point out, things. So, and that's also a very nascent technology.
Wow, I mean, you dropped a lot of gems. And Shu, if you can, put up the picture of how this all plays together.
Screenshot this, because this is the future that you're gonna be looking at. This is everything that Rich just spoke about.
And the important part about this is that you are seeing it again from automotive cars to cloud computing across. They by themselves something, but Industry 4, as we kind of mentioned this in the beginning, is really the integration of all of those things together, right? So, you can become an expert in this or whatever like that, but it's that fusion of putting all those those half dozen things together that makes Industry 4 Industry 4. And it's again, it's gonna, AI could figure out that if you add 2 more somethings to this product, it becomes stronger, or easier to use, or kind of easier to process with something else. Smart materials are kind of coming up as another, kind of another thing. It's not stopped. It's just going to keep going, and again, it's going to need us to help it. It's AI is not smart by any far stretch of the imagination. It doesn't have that spark that we have.
Nope.
So
we give it
that's
the
why
data.
it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's going to get smarter. It's going to kind of do things like that. But originality, creativity, this is kind of kind of who we are, right? And then and again, and they're just tools. They're just that. Don't times to and I think that's amazing to be honest, as a person, again, as someone who kind of watches a lot of different things. Kind of when you start kind of putting those things together, it's almost godlike if you really kind of think about it. Going on, and are we gods? Oh my God, my voice has just turned into a god voice. I think I just evolved. Did I just evolve into God? No, I'm kidding.
Live here on the episode. Nah, but I mean, for real though, it's very godlike. I think that's why a lot of people are scared of it. But for me, I'm lit off of this conversation. I mean, every time we do these episodes, I learn. Even though I do my research, but there's always something that clicks. I'm always looking for the pattern.
I learned a lot. I always learn a lot as well.
Oh yeah. These are. So anybody watching it, you probably gonna have to meditate after this. That's what Rich told us when we first started talking to each other. You're gonna get excited, so you bring it down. Just meditate, take some time, clear it out.
Yeah, it is a very big part of my, well, it's a very big part of my consulting. Again, it's part of my training as well. I mean, and anyone who's been training Futurism, anyone kind of doing that, the key component is to ground yourself, right? Because again, these things are really exciting, and especially when you start watching them. Like I was showing recently some people about what a 12D movie is.
What's a 12D movie?
Sorry. So I'm trying to come up with so let's just say you're in a room, big, small, kind of whatever you want to kind of call it, and then action is kind of going on everywhere from the floor, like that, but it's taking into consideration where your perspective of where you are in the room and adjusts, right? And so you could be then like, if again, I have examples. I don't know.
Would it be like Disney World? Have you ever been like Disney World? If you ever like some of these animated rides at Disney World where
that's crazy.
The chair move, and you think you're moving, and like the one ride you actually think you've fallen, but you're not. You still, but the screen is moving.
Yeah,
you're in the same spot, but the screen is tricking your mind. Yeah,
yo,
right. But at its core, that's what it is. But what a lot of people are missing, and I think Disney and a few other guys, are kind of getting this. And again, and as you know, I'm kind of a big sound guy, right? So the sound system, right, is incredible in these 12D movies, right? Like, and again, we all kind of see that, or you can kind of hear it like almost in stereo, right? When there's somebody who's walking from your right speaker, and you can hear the steps, and it kind of works into your left speaker, right? And you kind of get the sense that you're in that kind of like there's someone going on, right? So hold on, let me tell you one thing, and this could be anywhere, right? But with especially like, again, when I talk about like the the future of immersive technologies and kind of things like that, there's some really simple things that could really kind of put you in a different place. And one of them is the vibration, right? We all, when we're out there in real world, shit vibrates, right? Getting on a bus, whatever, you kind of, moving. You can interact, get that to interact kind of wherever you're standing now, and have just some basic, simple vibrations, that would make that dimension, that extra added dimension. So if you're watching a movie and like the person is, or whatever the storyline is, that their phone rings or it's on vibrate, and you feel the vibrate, you're there, like like whatever. So it's a lot of these things. So you can kind of add a whole bunch of these, again, sound, lighting, AI, AI components that allow for perspective change for two or more people in one room, right? So when you go into these 12D movies and you're with someone, you all get it. that person is kind of seeing something, differently or kind of whatever like that, and kind of adds you into it. So powerful, so cool. I'll send you like a snippet, after this, but
Yeah, please.
you'll get a sense, because when you actually get to see the people like who are like kind of sitting there, either sitting on the floor or standing around or something like that, it kind of brings you down to earth like a little bit, but what's going on around them is incredible.
That is awesome. Could you imagine watching a football game and you got like gargles on in 3D and the sound, and
That would be so
when the quarterback
cool,
and you sitting in the quarterback spot looking at the field, and when he gets sacked, you feel that vibration when you get hit as well.
Yeah. Well, you
fire.
still like
That
well,
would be so
like,
fire.
yeah. Well, you just actually kind of plugged, my upcoming podcast, which was the future of linear television, right? So the things that you guys just mentioned are all part of, and currently have existing technologies of, to be able to do that. So in Asia, again, I watch, signals from all over the place, right? So, Afrofuturism is one of them, right? Pan-Asian futurism is another one. The Koreans, the Japanese, and kind of everyone kind of working on. So there's technologies currently going on right now that you could go to a sports game and think you're in the stadium, based on exactly what you said, like that surround sound, surround screen, highly, again, kind of, crowd inducing, right? Because like, what makes going to a theater, going to a concert, kind of going then different than you sitting down at home? Because it's like big.
That gives me a good idea for a sports
kind of going on, right? Yeah. You're right there. And then, most of these technologies are all IP based, right? So the same technologies that are currently supporting what you do on the internet and in your games right now are being applied at these macro levels. So it's not like it's hard, if you, again, it's just the vision, it's like, you got to know what you have, and kind of what you do with it. And then how does this technology work for a human? It's not being, it could do other shit, right?
Yep.
So it'll be hard for you to tell the difference at some points if you're at a game or not. And the other part that I like is that, like you said, like, you can change your point of view, right? Not in like the stadium point, but in some of the other like immersive technologies going on, that there is no reason that stops you from watching a football game from the perspective of the quarterback. So you could watch the game from the 50-yard line. You could watch the game from the quarterback's perspective, from the how about becoming a wide receiver for the first time and watching the wide receiver, what he has to see and do, right? You could kind of watch it from the roof of the building. You can be the little robot guy who's spinning around, like that R2D2 thing that's kind of going on.
Yeah, right. BB9 or whatever. Yeah.
Now that technology is now, right? And again, it's exciting. It's doing all these kind of things, but again, I need Lord's point of view about what we should be doing there, right? I don't know what kind of thing like that, right? And so, I'll let you guys know when that's somewhat finished. I had some TV people that I had known to kind of, I did an interview with, and kind of where they're going, and it's fun stuff. It's gonna be really, really kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
There's been some real gems and jewels that you drop to the audience. You all appreciate the content and like to continue to receive content like this wherever you're watching us. If it's on the radio, WDJY 99.1, send us some comments, email us. Don't forget the Discord. You can join us in our Discord where you can interact. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the Discord, scan the Discord in front of Lord Shu. And if you're on Spotify, leave us some comments. Like, subscribe, share with a friend. We enjoy bringing this content to you. This is how we continue to bring you this good, high quality content and bring guests on like Rich that can get you ready for the future of AI, whatever that may be, in futurism. So like, subscribe,
transformative power.
Transformative power.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Transformative power.
Leave them comments, because Rich actually want to read them.